You calling me a madman, you fribble?
Madman?
Landlord?
Lawyer?
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today our movie in the middle is one of my personal favorites to watch every 4th of July, 1776. 1776 stars William Daniels as John Adams and tells the story of how the first Congress sat in a blazing hot room for months, kind of like Maryland right now, in order to decide whether to fight for independence and how to do so. This is an awesome 4th of July movie to watch, obviously because it talks about how we got to independence, but also because it is just so entertaining. This is like one of the funniest movies I've ever seen, and it doesn't seem like it at first. Like, there are some jokes here and there, but the more you watch it, just the more you understand the banter between them, all these sides that are like, we do want to fight, we don't want to fight, it's going to be a problem, it's something we have to do. There is conflict between all of them, but the way that they talk to each other, it's like they're joking with each other. There obviously is banter going on. There's just so much humor in this movie, and I always pick up something new every time I watch it. And the funny thing about the humor is a lot of it's really campy, and I don't want to say cheesy, but like, obviously this isn't, factually, I think it's, pretty accurate, but tonally, obviously it was going to be a lot more serious when they were doing it. Here, it's for entertainment purposes, and so everything that they do and say, for the most part, is really hyped up to be funny, and they just made it a lot more campy. They had a lot of bits, like there's this one where every single time they try to vote on anything, New York abstains courteously. Every time. And it gets to a point where John Hancock actually says,
Mr. Morris.
What in hell goes on in New York?
But for as funny as this movie is, it actually is also incredibly emotional in spots. I think the most emotional moment is this song where one of these messengers that just keeps coming in every so often to give letters from George Washington to the Congress, he eventually sits down and has this song about basically a soldier who's like, I'm dying and I just want to see my mom one more time before he dies. That's literally what the song's about. And it's like, you wouldn't think that this would be in this movie, but because it's so funny, and then it has this moment. I mean, they did a really good job of balancing the funny and then the really, like, heartfelt, like, gravity of this war and what it was doing to people. And what serves this tone is the acting. I mean, you got William Daniels, who obviously plays Mr. Feeney in Boy Meets World. He's so great because he's just so done with this Congress. It's so funny because he's sarcastic the whole time. He's like, I am, like, literally the first song is he's like, what in the hell are we doing here? Like, we're just sitting on our asses, we're not doing anything. And then, of course, they're like, sit down, John. And that happens for like 3 minutes. He like just wants to get something done, and it's just not happening. So he's like rushing around like that stereotypical like short guy who's like always fuming. He's running around with Ben Franklin, who, by the way, Ben Franklin is the funniest thing to come out of this movie. He is, for like 90% of this movie, like, whatever happens, and we're doing it, and I'm just gonna make jokes about it, whatever. There's maybe like 10% of the movie where he actually takes things seriously, or looks like he's taking it seriously. The whole time he actually is, fighting for this independence, but he's just so nonchalant about everything. It's great. But they just are running around this whole time just trying to get, well, maybe you can make the declaration, and maybe you can do this, and maybe if we try this one thing, it'll make them want to fight for independence. It's so great. The acting is really amazing in this movie because it's so funny, but then they pull out those moments, and I'm like, wow, that was really deep. And this movie, especially for a lot of its songs, is so well filmed. Like, the way that they use lighting in a lot of it, the way that they angle things, and just everything for especially the later songs, is either so well choreographed or just really beautiful to look at. Like, again, that song that's really sad and emotional it's like there's like one spotlight, and it's just, it's like, I think this was a stage play first, and it's basically like they almost filmed a stage play, but in movie form. But far and away, the best part of this movie is the songs. They are just so catchy. They span a wide range of things, you know, from waiting for everybody to approve the Declaration to making the Declaration to a dance with Jefferson's wife. Even John Adams having his moment of like, are we gonna do this or not? They're so much fun. Personally, one of my favorites is one between John and a bunch of other people, Jefferson and Franklin, and he's like trying to get one of them to write the Declaration. And he's like, can you do it? And they're like, no. And he's like, can you do it? And they're like, no. And he finally gets to Jefferson, and Jefferson's like, I just want to go home to my wife. It's a really great song. Really, the only low here is that it can be kind of long, but honestly, it goes fast once you know what the story is. It doesn't drag too much. There are some slower moments, but that's because they're more intentional to be like, okay, we want to focus on this one thing. And so, you know, once you've seen it a couple times, you're like, okay, this doesn't really go that slowly or anything. It doesn't drag like some hour-and-a-half movies do. So overall, 1776 is a very fun movie. It's hilarious. There's humor in almost every aspect, and where there isn't, it's really deep and emotional and really makes you think about the war and all the stuff that they had to go through to just get to the war itself. Not even to just independence, but actually getting to the fighting and the Declaration. The acting is great. The songs are incredible. It ends on a very harrowing note, and I think it's just one of the most perfect movies to watch at 4th of July. I mean, it gets you into that spirit. It gets you into the historical feel with, you know, fifes and everything. I'm going to give 1776 a July 4 out of 4, making it my next top shelf movie. Guys, let me know what you think of 1776 if you've seen it. I think it's a really fun movie. If you haven't seen it, please go ahead and check it out this 4th of July. And stay safe this 4th of July. I know it's going to be really hot. It's going to be raining in some places. So whatever you're doing, just make sure to stay safe. And as always, keep your hopes high, your stress low, and movies right in the middle. I'll see you guys later.